I had to unmute like 5 channels. That was not okay. Ooh, who could the guest be? I wonder. Ooh. You look so fat.
Why did you make me so big?
I needed to make your scale match mine.
I like being under the table.
I would have put you on top of the table, but I think you would have liked that less.
You know, I liked that when you were summoning me.
I thought you said you didn't because you didn't like the fat Yoshi. Is that gonna be your new nickname from now?
Fat Yoshi? Yes. No,
also, I'm sorry for the weird owl bear.
E-H-A-T. Fat Yoshi. That is a weird owl bear.
That's the only alpha version with a PNG that I could find where it was transparent because I did not want to have to cut out an owl bear for you on short notice.
Well, you're the one who said anything.
Anyways, because I always give people, well, I don't always give people, I mostly give people nowadays, if they want something, I'll try and put it there for them.
That's sweet.
Like I got rid of Sarah's frog and replaced it with an owl bear that's eating the bread. Also, this is the first time that we've ever seen the rest of the normal background on stream because Sarah's not here. So
what
congratulations,
does that say above
everybody.
my head?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
The screen's too small.
I feel very
Oh look,
blind.
Sarah's saying I can't hear you. It says something weird, and that's okay.
I'm not eating your bread. Owlbear's eating your bread. I don't know why I'm talking to you. You can't hear me.
She can't hear you, so there's no point.
Okay,
Anyways,
well.
So, hello everybody. Today, we're gonna talk about childhood. Ooh.
Dum dum dum.
Even worse because we grew up together, so we know more about it. About childhood in general, because we grew up together. That's just how it works. But first, we'll do our weekly obsessions. And so, Yoshi, I'm gonna make you do it first.
Of course you will.
You are the one that said I'm preparing.
I was. I always forget that that's a thing on here. So it's a song. Sorry to be basic. It is by some little person.
Some little person? Sarah.
No. No. You haven't heard? It's called On Your Mind by Noah Florsch. I don't know.
I don't know what any of those words mean.
I'm obsessed.
Describe what the song's like. What is it about?
It starts out with...
I'm sorry, should I have prompted you to think of this before we started?
It says, in comparison to Parrots?
Parrots?
In comparison to Paris, you lie like the city of lights, and you fight like my parents. I don't know. It's a good song to sing along to.
It's true. You do like songs that you can scream to, even if they don't necessarily, like, make sense in your life. Which is okay.
It is okay. It's my life.
Jack's public house is coming so by. I don't know what that means. Anyways. My weekly obsession, also a song. Sarah can't get mad at me. It's not a K-pop song, so no one's allowed to get mad at me. And I just listen to a lot of music. That's why it's typically songs. Mine's not a good song. I'm not gonna say it's a good song because the lyrics are really stupid, but that's kind of why I think it's funny. It's called Loser Core.
Okay.
And it's by an artist called Awerewa. And the lyrics literally surround like the epitome of chronically online girl, I guess. Like, think chronically online e-girl who like reports you on Twitter if you say something against her or something, and is like always on Discord. I know who you know. I know you know. I know you know who I'm talking about. It could be that, but that's not the main reason why I like it. I like it because the drop in it is like really dirty, not like
a dirty drop,
not moaning or like sexual, but in a sense of like it's like really gritty and intense, and I thought that was really cool because I wasn't expecting that.
It doesn't have the bed squeakies that you hate.
No, that's like Jersey breakcore or something. That's like what it's officially called, and there's a lot of SoundCloud remixes of all kinds of songs with that. I've heard it so much. That's why I'm so over it.
The squeaky bed.
Yeah, because that's how they all are. They all have that squeaky bed, and they all have like a drop beat where it goes into like a boom, 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 boom. And I just can't. Just can't get enough of you. Anyways. So yes, childhood.
Childhood. What a time.
More specifically, I was gonna talk about like things that I was very into, and because you were here, I was thinking of things that we did, not going as far as one of the things, but we could go that far if you want to talk about that, because I feel like that's kind of weird.
I don't know what part you're talking about. Was it something I mentioned before the stream?
Yes. It's one of the things you mentioned before the stream. Granted, it's not me that's going to be incriminated. I just participated in it. You were the main factor here, but...
I was the main factor. Give me a camera and make them...
let's not say that. Anyways, but no, one of the things, like, I'll give you an example, because Yoshi was very stressed for some reason about... what to talk about, even though I'm like thinking to myself, I know things that I liked and I know things that you liked. How do you not even know things that you like?
No, I know things that I liked, but like, you know,
like, no.
You go first.
Because one of the things I think about, obviously, which is hilarious considering how homosexual I am now, is race cars and just cars in general. I loved a good motor vehicle, let me tell you. I have this giant box of these Hot Wheels cars. This was back when all the Hot Wheels cars were either fully made of like metal or like they had the full-on metal bottom. So it's heavy. And I have a box full of them because I liked just getting new cars and driving them around places. I was that annoying kid that I would bring a car with me to a public space and I would use everything as a ramp, even though that's not what you're supposed to do. And that's how I lost one of my cars when it fell into the monorail at Disney.
Oh, that was funny.
That was not funny for me. I liked that Pluto car.
That was traumatic for you.
And yeah, I liked all kinds of weird cars. I especially liked certain ones which weren't fully made of metal, but they were like fully like plastic but translucent, because I thought those looked cool. Or anything with like clear plastic where you could see inside the car and it was very unrealistic. But
it also had like a lot of tracks for the cars.
Yeah. I specifically I remember one that like was not necessarily my favorite, but I remember it the most, which was that stupid gorilla one.
Yeah, I remember that.
Where
I remember
there's like loops.
It had like a motor or something to like propel them.
Yeah, there was like two wheels that spun kind of like the things you would put a ball into to pitch it at someone, and it would shoot the car and it would like land in the gorilla mouth and go up its arm. It made no sense realistically, but it was very fun to watch. Even though the car sometimes hit me in the face, but...
I remember you having one. I don't think it was for like Hot Wheels cars, but it was like, I don't know if it was a parking garage. Do you remember that multiple story building that you had? I don't remember if it was a car wash at this point. I don't think it was a parking garage, because who would buy a parking garage for their child?
Feel like if it's the one I'm thinking of, it is a car wash of some kind.
It had an elevator.
A fancy car wash.
Okay.
None of those things have realism. Are you kidding me? They were made for children.
You also got like a lot of the Hess.
Yeah.
Situations. They weren't always cars.
They weren't always cars. Like the famous one is like the Hess trucks and stuff. But I have helicopters. I have like those giant construction ones. I swear there was a boat at one point, but I don't have a boat. That one still technically was a car. I guess that's the thing. The Hess trucks were typically trucks of some kind, but they would transport other things. Because there's that other big truck that literally just had like a small ATV in it, which is just a smaller car. But yeah, I have a lot of those. And I did so much with them. I abused those trucks so badly.
You really liked them.
I did. I could even sit on them at one point. Now I would just break them, but and like the first thing I think of when I think of the things that you were into around that same age period was like all of the plastic horses.
Yeah. I have tons of horses.
The frozen plastic horses that couldn't actually move, but you made them move.
Not My Little Pony horses, not unicorns. I wanted real horses.
You say that, but they were like Barbie horses.
And when we'd play together, he would play his little car. He would he would vocalize for his car. Yeah. And I'd have like a Barbie and my bajillion of horses, and we'd have his car riding a horse.
Not necessarily. Sometimes I wasn't riding horse. Sometimes I was just participating in the jumps, but it was like a Hot Wheels race while you were like cantering beside me with your Barbie horse. We had to entertain ourselves as children. We had not much else to do. Which kind of is like the segue into the things that we see. Okay, so those were like the toys and stuff that I can think of, like young
when
childhood.
We were really young.
That we were into, because like later on, still in childhood, but later on I got into like all the spy related stuff too, like all those stupid gadgets.
Oh yeah.
But then, you know, we would have our own fun pretend games of mixed varieties. Yeah. Because it was anywhere from the stupid Moth and Butterfly, which was not a game. It wasn't even a game, really.
I don't know what that was. It was stupid.
It was something that, funnily enough, we did with Sarah and her brother.
Portillo.
I don't think we did it alone. I think we only ever did it with them.
Yeah.
And it made no sense, and I don't even know what we were doing, to be honest. The boys were moths and the girls were butterflies, and the only thing that would change is at daytime, quote unquote, when the lights were on in the room, and by the room I mean Yoshi's room, because we never did it anywhere else. The butterflies could move around, and so Sarah and Yoshi would go around. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what we were doing, to be honest.
I don't know what the tasks were, but
we were just fluttering around. We had like blankets on to pretend we had wings. I don't know what we were doing though. And then when the lights went off, the butterflies went to sleep and the moths woke up. And again, I don't know what we were doing. It could be that we weren't doing anything, or I just purely don't remember. But I don't know what we could have even done in that situation. Like pretend to eat bugs, like.
Yeah, I have no clue what we were doing. Absolutely no idea.
Technically speaking, that's not the. We also later on, not just full on childhood, maybe more teeny, and then still child, because you know me and Sarah. But when we would do those stupid murder mystery games.
Dude, that was fun. I had so much fun with that.
That was not fun when we involved our grandmother because she was confused.
Yeah. No, not that. We'd basically, so we'd have it. There was 4 of us. You know, we were playing around. Where our grandma
we're related,
used to
not
live,
that kind of playing around.
Where my grandma used to live, there was like this office that nobody really used. So we'd send the detective in there. I don't know. We'd send the detective in there, and they had like a little spinny chair, and then the other 3 would sit there and like come up with some kind of murder or theft or crime of some sort that had happened, and then basically the investigator got to interrogate everybody and then figure out who the bad guy was. There was no prize.
Well, the prize was winning.
There. Well, winning. Good job.
And only the investigator could win. I mean, I guess the other people could win if they successfully deceived the investigator.
I guess.
Because we weren't supposed to lie. Well, that's not true. Didn't we have like a rule where you could lie about like one thing?
I think so.
Because it was supposed to be where it was making it hard for the investigator to actually understand what was happening.
Yeah.
But we one time roped our grandmother into this as to be one of the people that the investigator interviewed. And I think at that point the investigator was Portillo. Because let's be real, he would be the only one that could actually go through all of the layers of garbage that was happening. Especially with our grandmother involved. And she was very confused about how the game worked when we were explaining it to her, and I'm pretty sure she just actually let slip in when she was being interviewed by Portillo the entirety of what was supposed to not be revealed.
Yeah, but that's okay. We loved her anyway.
Yeah. And then technically a childhood thing that we all had in common because of Portillo was the whole Minecraft thing.
That's true. Portillo got us hooked on Minecraft.
Office is where he actually showed us Minecraft for the first time.
Yep. I remember screaming at the zombie. Good times.
I vaguely remember him showing us a world where he like had a mine shaft that went all the way down to an obsidian place, and I thought it looked scary. And then he lent us his login because, you know, you could do that back then.
Oh gosh. Yes, you could.
So to be fair, we couldn't play by ourselves in the sense like with each other. Well, I also didn't know multiplayer existed at that point. Even though there was a multiplayer button, I didn't know how to work it because I also didn't know how the internet worked. I only know a fickle few websites at that point, but we could only ever get on one at a time because it was one account that we were all sharing, and if you were to log on when someone else was on, it would kick them off of the game. Because that happened a couple of times when Portillo would log on and then suddenly I would be out of the game and I'd be like, what happened? But I distinctly remember at one point when I was building, I think a shitty looking hotel that was made solely of wooden planks, that I called Portillo on the home phone because I couldn't figure out how to get seeds. And he told me you have to hit grass, and I was hitting grass blocks and I wasn't getting anything but dirt, and I told him that and he said, no, you dumbass, you have to hit the actual grass bits to get seeds. And yeah, I still remember that. That was a fun memory.
I remember the first Minecraft multiplayer server that I played on had some kind of vampire element to it. I don't know. I just remember being in a mushroom biome and people would start burning in the daylight. I don't know how that managed to. You
started playing on multiplayer when there was mushroom biomes?
I think it was mushrooms. Maybe somebody just built a mushroom house. I don't remember when they added it, man.
But mushroom stuff happened at the same time that the mushroom biomes were added too. Because I think I did it was still probably in like the 1.7 beta area when I first logged on to the one that I found, and the first one I found I think was like a zombie survival one. So I immediately logged in and was getting killed by a swarm of zombies, which was great for me. Like, definitely could cope for that.
Remember Cookie Slap?
Yes.
Yes,
that was full of drama of a lot of children. Like, what were the practices of like Minecraft online children dating? I don't understand that. I guess that happens in every game when you're a child and you're online. Yes.
I don't remember.
Do you not remember like the main people that were like the title people on Cookie Slap?
Oh, you mean like
in their own love triangles together?
Oh no, you mean the Cookie Spleef? I vaguely remember that. I remember I just had a nemesis. I
think
take
you make
nemesis.
a lot of those.
I apparently do. I just had a nemesis, and my thing was I always had to beat him. Forget anyone else, I had to beat him.
Okay, so for those who don't know, because I'm sure this sounds crazy, there used to be a Minecraft server, I don't think it's up anymore, I think it got shut down a long time ago at this point, called Cookie Slap. And the main game mode around it was Cookie Slap, in case you didn't know. And the whole shtick of it was they gave you a cookie, and it had like knockback 10 or something on it, so whoever you hit with it would go flying backwards. And there were like different stages that were themed differently, where you were like on platforms and everything, kind of like in Smash Bros or something, where you have to knock people off. And you would just slap people and hope that you didn't
slap
die.
people off.
And I guess there was different game modes because there was also like King of the Hill and everything.
Yeah, there was King of the Hill, and then there was like races or something where you had to reach the end of it. And if you were the first one to reach the end, you got so many points.
And then there was like the classic one where it's just how many deaths you had versus kills is how you'd be scored.
I think
well,
King of the Hill, I know that if you were up there and you started killing a bunch of people, you'd upgrade that
to a cake.
Yeah, and which had different effects.
A lot.
But
I swear it set people on fire too. But
I still think it had to do with how many kills you got. But it was just if you were King of the Hill, you had a better chance of killing people.
And then the cookie spleef. I guess I have to also explain what spleef is.
If you guys don't know what spleef is, we can't be friends.
Okay, that's not true because I don't hold people to that standard.
I hold people to high standards.
Well, that's okay. Then no one's gonna be friends with you. But spleef, simplified, I guess, is just there's a floor, and you are hitting it out from people, and you're trying to survive on the floor until you eventually fall. And you're trying to also sabotage people at the same time. You don't have to, because a lot of the times I would just, it's kind of like Battle Royale-esque in the sense where I would just run around and not do anything and try and survive rather than go after people, because that's when I would die, and then I would last until like the final 3 or something. But
I like spleef, man.
It was very popular, and it was like a singular arena. I don't think they ever changed that arena. It was like made of sandstone and stuff. And instead of a shovel, which you'd normally do, because spleef, like traditionally, was a shovel and snow, but this one was sandstone and a cookie, because sure.
Why not?
And yeah. So that's where a lot of the drama that I saw, because like there were leaderboards of people that were winning games on this cookie spleef place. And like the top 5 or so were like in their own league of competing with each other, but also being in love triangles with each other, because there was like 1 or 2 boys and then 3 or 4 girls that were all fighting over them, which is typically how it went. And you know, at this point, with the things that Yoshi's told me about how she catfished on VFK, those boys might have even been boys. They could have just been people with a boy skin.
They could have been. To be fair, hold on. It was a dual catfish situation. Don't get it twisted.
To me, because it's still catfishing.
The person, yeah, I don't feel bad about it because they were catfishing. So,
but okay,
full circle.
Different website thing that was a little bit younger though, that I definitely remember, was all the webkin stuff. Oh my lord. That you could do a lot of stuff. I felt like there was kind of an underground market in webkins, because you could like sell things and get more furniture, like higher upgraded stuff and like outfits for your webkins and stuff. I don't think I ever got that far. I wasn't Sarah, but I did remember registering all of the ones we would get from like Cracker Barrel or something, because they used to sell so many there.
Yeah, between Cracker Barrel and the Hallmark store, that was like the best place to go get the webkins.
And we had a lot.
We did. I got rid of a lot of them.
But I still had a decent
amount.
amount.
Horses. Like I had all the horses and like all the dogs, and then just random ones like the bird and the hedgehog, and yeah.
Also, okay, tell me if I'm crazy. I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember it was either Michael's birthday party or Ariana's birthday party, or both, and don't worry, I'll use their names because I don't care. They're not going to see this. But it was one of their birthday parties, and we like did a mini game or something, or a game over there, and we won prizes, and we went into their parents' bedroom alone to pick our prize, and my prize that I picked was a Hippo Webkins. I remember that. I think they were all webkins. I think they're all webkins, but only one person could go in at a time.
We did the scavenger hunt. I'm pretty sure that was when we did the scavenger hunt, where we went around and was knocking on like all the neighbors' doors.
Oh, to be a fun neighbor at that point. Have I ever told the story? I probably have at some point. I've done so many of these episodes at this point, but have I ever told the story, not to you, but to everyone else, of how I basically went over to play, because, you know, back when we would play outside with a neighbor, and we essentially found this little boy. This sounds really creepy too. I was younger than this other neighbor, so keep in mind I was also being taken advantage of in this situation, because I was just going along with whatever he wanted to do. But we found this little child who I don't even fully remember if he did speak English, because I remember the mother did not speak English, but he was in like a toy, no, he was playing around, and then he started to play with us, and then we eventually followed him because he was like, come with me or something, and the neighbor I was with was just following him blindly, and he went to a house that we had never been to that was like up the street, to which we went inside that house of this child we did not know, nor did we meet anyone else, and then we sat in a toy car with him as his mother that did not speak English started taking pictures of us together with him. And I vividly remember the entire thing of like, is this a fever dream? Because I don't know what's happening, and I don't think we ever met him again.
What about you fighting the guy?
That was separate, okay? I still can't believe I fought someone of all things. Me. Getting into an altercation, a physical fight. Although it was kind of fun tumbling down the hill. And besides, it's not like we punched each other. It wasn't really a fight. It was like a child's fight. Okay, because our backyard is shared with a couple of other people because there's not like a fence or anything, but it's on like a hill. So it's like an upwards hill in our backyard. And we were over, I think, at the neighbor's playground area. It was like a playhouse. It had swings and stuff. And it was like a fort. And I don't even know what started it. It was so long ago. I remember how he showed up because our mother was crazy. And she just invited a random child off the streets.
Well, she felt bad.
Okay, so we were back in the backyard, you know, shenanigans, and our mother just randomly apparently saw this kid who had been riding around the street that we were on essentially multiple times. Like, she had seen him pass a couple of times on his bike, and for some reason, I mean, also stupid on the kid's part for just believing her, because I feel like that was a separate thing to not do. For some reason, she invited him to come back in the backyard and play with us and our friends. And he did. He like just followed her because she came back with him, and all of us didn't know who he was. What was his name? Was his name Jacob?
I don't know what that kid's name was.
I don't remember what his name was. All I know is for some reason me and him did not mesh well. And I don't remember if that was the first, if the first time was the only time that it happened and then we fought and then he never came back around, or if it was like he came back around a second time and I was pissed off at him for some reason. I don't even know why I was pissed off at him. I was a child. I think I was also younger than him, and yet I'm the one that ran him off. So apparently I was a wily child. And I remember we were on the hill. Something happened. I was mad at him. I tackled him to the ground and we started rolling down the hill. And I remember being on top of him. This was very homoerotic, honestly. And I was just pissed at him, and I think I ended up running him off, and he never came back around again. And none of you stopped me either. None of you stopped this
I don't
happening.
remember like actually being there.
I know it wasn't just me and him there. I know it was multiple people.
I don't actually remember. I vaguely remember meeting this kid, but like I don't remember actually being there. We all would hang out,
but I remember after that he never came around again, and I don't think our mother knew.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
Because I swear we've mentioned it in front of her before, and she's like, "You fought someone?" And it's like, yeah, that's the whole reason he never came back around. We had a lot of interesting friends
We tied
in our neighborhood.
Ronan to the stop sign.
Yeah, he wanted it.
He wanted to be
the
tied.
neighbor I was with, you know, for the child kidnapping situation. He was probably a rope bunny. He liked being tied up. He wanted us to tie him to a stop sign at the end of the street, and we did, and we left him there, and we walked away. I think we took a picture of him too. I don't remember. This was back when you had your tiny little silver camera, like your digicam. Yeah. And yeah, there's a lot of weird things we did on that street as children, but also we knew like random people that weren't in close proximity, because the main people that we hung out with were obviously like neighbors that were either across the street or next to us or something. But there was also Brittany. Was it Brittany? Was that her name? At the upper part of the street? The one who burned her socks off on the scooters?
Yes.
Because again, once again, we live on a hill that's on a hill. So we had those like classic Razor scooters. The ones with like the metal stopping thing on the back to brake. But because we lived on a hill, it took a lot to stop. And typically that also meant that, because you know, when you stop something with metal, like you're stopping a rubber wheel with metal, that's going to make friction. And so what would happen is it would generate so much heat that you couldn't do it barefoot or you would burn your foot.
Yeah, Brittany burned her socks.
But also,
doing it with socks on.
If you did it with shoes on, it would start melting the rubber on your shoes. So, I don't know. You just couldn't ride for a certain amount of time without, you know, having bad issues. And there was the bikes, too, that we would do back when we would play pretend. And then Michael got upset that he couldn't ride a polar bear and tried to run you over.
I remember that. What a jerk.
We did a lot of role playing, because what else are you supposed to do when you're a child?
And I was still obsessed with horses, so I'd take my bike and I would run it over the curb and like jump, like pull the bike up like it was a horse jumping over an obstacle.
You know, thinking of it, that was very dangerous.
It was
because you would use like the curb on the side of like the driveway to get a ramp up, but then you could very easily just fall over doing that.
I don't remember ever falling over doing that.
I do, because I was trying to do it and I fell.
Yeah, but I don't remember ever falling over.
Or you do the same thing, you do it with a scooter, and that would be even more horrifying.
No, the scooter, I think you'd literally like the wheels were too close.
Not only the wheels were too close, but because the bar of it was like the metal, it would get caught and then you would fall over.
You'd literally fall. I remember like posting and stuff on the bike.
Yeah, we just thought you were humping it.
Ah, horse girls. You know us.
Humping bikes for fun.
Bikes for fun.
That makes sense, honestly. I mean, then there was also, I mean, you made a lot of interesting friends, because you also had Ashley.
Was she really a friend? I don't think she was.
I don't even, how did you even meet her?
I don't even remember. I think Katie knew her.
Because initially, I don't think it was another situation where like mom showed up and
no, I think Katie knew her. I think Katie knew her, and I remember they started hanging out. There was something that they were gonna hang out about, and I'd asked if I could come. And she was like, no, you're not allowed to come. And I was kind of like, okay, being sad about that. And then there was something where she uninvited me from her birthday party because
the boogie
something
board?
with Katie. Something with Katie. I don't remember. Oh yeah, it was Katie's boogie board.
Wasn't it? We all were at the pool. Not we all, but I might have been, but I probably wasn't, you know, involved in the drama. And you, Katie, and Ashley were all over there, and Katie had left her boogie board, and you said you were going to take it back over to her because she forgot it, and then Ashley was getting pissed at you, saying, "No, I'm gonna do it."
Yeah, and then she uninvited me from her birthday party. I don't know. It was all kinds of stupid.
I always remember the experience where I think you were riding her bike, because your bike had normal brakes, but her bike didn't have normal brakes. Her bike only had the hand brakes, where you had to like do that, and it had like gears and everything too, and you no, you were riding her bike and she was on her roller skates. That's what it was.
Yes.
Because you were riding it down the really, really massive hill at the end of our street, and you didn't know how to stop it, and she was chasing you on her roller skates, and I saw you two fly by me, and I was thinking I was going to see you crash at the bottom. But I think you learned how to stop.
Honestly, those bikes scared me.
I mean, I think they're easier to control than the back pedal brakes, though, now that I'm older.
Yeah. I felt like I was old enough to understand
those.
it, though. I don't like the gears. It confuses me. I just want it to go. I know it's supposed to make things easier.
I just want it to go.
I just want it to go. I just remember pedaling backwards, and that wasn't working. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
I mean, I never thought it made things easier, just because even when it's... Because isn't the whole thing of the geared bike supposed to be like when you change the gear to where you pedal more? Is that supposed to make it easier because you have less resistance? Or is it supposed to be easier when you have more resistance?
I don't know.
Because I always felt that the more resistance actually felt like I was going somewhere, whereas the less resistance felt like I was gonna fall over.
Well then, maybe that's what it is.
But I also remember every time I rode my bike, my ass hurt for the next couple of days.
Yeah, it was a tiny little seat. Like up the booty.
It'd always be right in between.
I'm trying to think of what else.
I know something for me. I loved the Disney.com games.
I was thinking that too. I was obsessed with the Hannah Montana game where you had to like take photos of her.
Yeah, creepy. A little perverted. Teaching you to be a little insensitive prick to celebrities.
And then I remember the Lilo and Stitch
sandwich one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the only bit though. I think that was just a mini game inside of a bigger game of Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I just remember the sandwich part of it.
Because I'm pretty sure you were like on a platformer kind of game, and he was just like a side quest or something that you had to get done.
What other Disney Disney games were there? Because I can think of other games from other things.
I love, maybe it's because I'm a creative little fuck, I loved all of the paint ones, because there were different themed ones that had different paintbrushes and effects. And I loved the Tron Legacy one because it felt like I was making a digital little album cover that looked like crap. But it was fun to me because there were like pixelated brushes and like light brushes that looked like they were glowy. And I loved those. It wasn't just the Tron one, because there were other like paint ones that actually looked like paint, or there was, I think, a more girly one, probably Hannah Montana, honestly, that had more stuff to it, but I just love those ones. And we had, because on the computer, that's the funny thing. I feel like we didn't do as much stuff on the computer when we moved here, but we did more stuff back when we were in Loftman. Because that's when I remember specifically, like the horse riding games and the Hot Wheels games and the finding the man in the alleyway that I don't remember what it's from necessarily, but I remember it kind of freaked me out for some reason.
You mean the Mickey game?
Yes.
Finding the criminal in the alleyway?
It was like you would go into an alleyway and it was Disney themed, so the criminal looked like a burglar from a Disney thing that I don't remember. But you would go into like an abandoned alleyway which had a bunch of junk in it, and I very specifically remember there was one version of, because there was like different versions with different props in it, and there was one version where there was like a mannequin. And I remember for some reason, whenever I would find him behind that mannequin, I would scream because I was like scared he was gonna, like, I thought in my mind he wasn't a burglar, he was a murderer, and I was like searching for him for some reason, and I freaked out because the music freaked me out too for some reason. Listen, the things I did, because when I sat at that computer alone too, that's also when I cut my own bangs.
You shouldn't be left alone. see, that's weird because I remember more so where we were, like, not Lothman, but where we moved to, playing like the Legend of Roseman Hill one.
I mean, I
Trying
didn't
to-
play that. I remember watching you play
that
that.
on the little Toshiba laptop in the hall. I
I
remember.
do have very vivid memories, specifically of being in the den back when that was the den. And you were playing. It had to have been VMK probably, either that or Club Penguin. But I think I was more of a Club Penguin than you were.
Yeah, I didn't play.
And
I didn't play that.
you were playing VMK, and I was listening to the Owl City Ocean Eyes album on my Zune, spinning around in a different office chair, getting dizzy and wanting to throw up. And that's a core memory for me. Back when we had like the orangey lights in there too, that made such awful lighting. But yeah.
We had to share.
Oh yeah, there's only one computer.
Yeah.
Wow, Hida, you're late.
Have to share.
I mean,
we also did. I also remember the Yahoo games.
oh yeah,
like,
the Scooby-Doo one.
Don't jump on the bed. The Cat in the Hat one.
The Cat in the Hat, Don't Jump on the Bed,
one.
and the Scooby-Doo one are the ones that I remember. Because the
I've
Scooby-Doo
made
one had the
people play.
genuine jump scare.
I've made people play the Scooby-Doo one. You can still find it. And do you remember the PBS Kids one? I remember playing the Cyber Chase thing and like being.
Oh no, I remember playing the Rough Ruffman one. I think that was the one I remember playing. There was one.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
There was a Rough Ruffman one, and you just had to do stupid little challenges in minigame form. But I always thought in the Scooby-Doo one, the cotton candy monster from the movie theater freaked me out.
Really?
Also, thinking about it now, you had to take a toe ring off of an alien. And that was kind of gross. There's a lot of messed up things in that game.
The jump scare freaked me out.
I mean, after a while, you get used to it.
Well, yeah, you don't even have to go in there once you know it's there. But like the first time you play it, you don't know.
I think that
it was a really bad jump scare.
Nowadays, but when you're a child and you're not used to that.
Terrified.
Because I think that was probably our first time ever playing a game that had a jump scare in it.
Yeah.
And it was a kid's game.
I know.
It was made to traumatize children.
Oh. What else?
But there was.
I was obsessed.
I only vaguely remember playing that, but I think Sarah was probably more Club Penguin with me too.
Yeah, not so much me. I played a lot of VMK and then VFK. And then when Sarah got into VFK, I was like done with it. Because at that point I was probably like, I feel like I played that as like a tween.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, I liked the secret agent stuff in Club Penguin because, you know, I did all the secret agent stuff in real life.
I like the dojo thing.
Oh, the card game?
Yeah.
I mean...
But really, it just got to a point where I would get on there when they were doing like their charity events and stuff.
Yeah, because there wasn't much to do. You can only play that minecart game so many times.
And I just play the games. Like I'd go make pizzas and stuff to like donate money.
Yeah, the pizza game was a classic.
Did you typically do normal pizza or dessert pizza? Because I enjoyed the
I liked both, but I think dessert pizza reminded me of the dessert pizza you could make in like Lunchables.
Yeah.
Which was a rare occurrence for me, because typically if I ever got the pizza one, it was just the cheese one. Because I think the deluxe ones that were bigger came with the dessert stuff too. Which also, speaking of Lunchables, what is your opinion on them? Now. Not then. Now.
I mean, I feel like I never really was like a Lunchable fan. I know that you were certain ones that you really, really liked. But I feel like for me, if I was going to have them, it'd be like the deli meat ones. I know you liked like the pizza one.
I hated them. Well, yeah. Okay, no. The one that I hated the most was, I think, the one that Ronan liked the most. It was the chicken nugget ones.
Those were gross.
Because they were cold. Why would you want a cold nug?
Yeah.
It was so gross to me. And like the way that they would have you do it is they would have you put a soggy cold nug into a shake and bake bag and like put spices in there and like shake it up. But pudding, like polishing a turd ain't gonna make it taste good, Nancy. It's still gonna taste like a cold nugget. I think my favorite were the nacho ones and probably the pizza ones, honestly. But the pizza ones, okay, there's the same issue where it's like you basically got a hard pita dough bread that was cold, because that's basically what the base of the pizza was. And then you'd smear way too sweet sauce on it and sprinkle cheese, and it tasted like sauce because you didn't really taste the cheese, and the breading wasn't very good. So I think the nacho one was probably just better. And I used to only like the nacho cheese of it, but later in life I was like, you know what, the salsa kind of slaps, not gonna lie.
That's ascending.
And I
child to adult.
I know, right? And I remember that typically, because there was the smaller ones like the nacho one, but you could get a bigger one too. But typically if I ever got like Lunchables when I was in elementary school, I would get the bigger packs that would come with like a Capri Sun and like a tiny little crunch bar or something. And those would come like in the nachos, so they would always be like covered in nacho chip dust. And you would eat it first because, you know, you didn't want to wait, and then you would have your nacho delight afterwards with your lovely Capri Sun. That's the thing. Did you ever like Capri Suns, or were they too sweet for you? Like, what was the best flavor?
Gosh, I don't even remember the flavors. I feel like fruit punch obviously was one of them, right? Let me look it up.
I think there was a tropical one too that was pretty good. And I also know that
I remember the orange one.
I don't think those were ever in Lunchables though. That's the thing.
No.
But you know, that's the thing. Also, when you think about it now, because I've had like a Capri Sun not anytime recently, but within like the last year or so, and drinking them, it really is just sugar water.
It really is.
Like it's the equivalent of like having Kool-Aid or something when you're younger and it just tastes like sugar water, but it's so good to you. Because I would remember all the stuff that we would get and have fun times in the lunch cafeteria. Because what I would do is, specifically, if I had a packed lunch in elementary school instead of just a Lunchable, sometimes Lunchable depending on if I had a candy that someone wanted, because I had this friend named Amber in elementary school in 4th and 5th grade who, her mom always packed her honey buns, and I had never had a honey bun before, and she had wanted like either Capri Sun or like maybe the candy bar I had with my Lunchable or something that I had in my packed lunch, and we traded, and that was the first time I ever had a honey bun, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Because it was just sugar bread covered in more sugar. But nowadays I think honey buns are too slimy for me. I feel like an oatmeal cream pie is probably the furthest I go when it comes to like Little Debbie snacks. And even then, I can only have like one every once in a while.
You know what? I feel like that just makes me reminisce, because we used to give those to the horses. The oatmeal cream
Yes,
pies,
it's true.
which seems really, really bad, but we didn't give
Yoshi
it to
did
them all the
nothing
time.
but went to a barn and fed all of the horses oatmeal cream
Oatmeal cream.
pies.
That's all
That
I
was
did.
our horse girl era.
Every Saturday, man. There were a couple horses there that didn't have a lot of teeth, and so you needed to give them something that was easy to chew with their gums or their 2 teeth. So it'd be bananas and oatmeal cream pies, and they would typically soften up the horse's food by like adding water to it to make it more of a mush.
Delicious.
I know, right? But yeah.
I mean, that
Good
kind
time.
of became a childhood thing. Well, it was already a childhood thing throughout the entirety, but that's kind of like when you actually went to the real thing.
Yeah.
Because you always liked horses, and then you went to that barn.
I went to that other horse camp thing.
Yeah. Saddle Club. You
Was
went,
not Saddle
that was
Club.
your version
I
of
was
Saddle
obsessed
Club.
with Saddle Club. I was obsessed with Saddle Club.
Which
It
no
was
one else
this-
is going to know what that is. Horse
also
girls know what Saddle
curly,
Club is.
I
Because that
assume
was
I
the
am
horse
a
girl
girl.
thing. It's like if you liked American Girl dolls and horses. That was like the cross between in my mind. Which is funny considering it was Australian.
It's an Australian show. Half of them had accents, and they played it on
for some reason.
They played it on Discovery Kids. I remember sitting there and be like, "Well, I'll be right back," and there was like dinosaurs.
They're invading the Earth again.
It was fun.
Did it ever make you want to go to Australia?
Both seasons, no.
Why?
It just made me want to go be around horses.
In Australia?
Not in Australia specifically, but just around horses. I really was first obsessed the entire time that I was growing up. The entire freaking time. I had like 4 or 5 birthday parties, horse themed, when I was a child. My mom would make like these little, what are they called? Relay races, where you have like the horses on a stick, where you have to like weave in and out. Obsessed. Absolutely obsessed. And my parents, people kept telling my mom and my dad that she'll grow out of it. Every girl goes through a horse phase. Phrase?
The horse phrase. What is a horse phrase? Can you speak one for me?
Howdy, y'all. I don't know.
That's not a horse. Is the horse saying that?
If the horses start talking to you,
that's how you truly know you're a horse girl.
No, that's when you go home. But people kept saying, "Oh, it's just a phase. She'll grow out of it. Every girl goes through a horse phase."
That's not true.
And no, it was not true. They were like, "We're gonna send you to this horse camp." I was probably like 10. They sent me to the horse camp, and specifically, they were like, "This is gonna make or break her because you had to take care of the horses."
They were trying to break you.
They were trying to break me.
It was actually a prison reform camp that had horses as the main activity.
That's literally what Mom said. It's like make or break. She did research. This wasn't just like they made you do everything. It wasn't just, you know, the good parts of owning a horse and being around horses. You had to clean the stall, and you had to clean stuff, and you had to feed it. Like, it wasn't just you could ride it.
You had to feed it.
And I just remember my mom telling me how excited I was when I'd get in the car covered in dirt and be like, "We cleaned a horse stall today." And my mom was like, "Oh God," because it's so expensive.
That's why you smell like shit.
So yeah, I remember I went to that camp twice, and then during high school, I like volunteered out at a horse ranch.
How long did the camp stuff last, though?
It was just a week.
It was?
Just a week.
I feel like
2 weeks of my life.
I swear it was longer just because the amount of times that I remember being there with Mom.
Oh, she'd come pick me up, and you would come with her. So 10 times?
Because obviously there was Sunny, beloved.
Yes. Your beloved, yes.
Love Sunny. Probably dead now, but love him.
Probably dead.
And then Cody, wasn't it? Cody was the other one?
Yeah, Cody was the other one.
That
he was really
me after
sweet.
a bit.
He was really sweet the first time we went, and then the second time he was like...
Something happened to Cody.
Cody went through some trauma.
Yeah. Because it's the stupid
Cody
story.
was gorgeous, though.
Oh yeah,
like absolutely gorgeous.
Wasn't he also the one that had like the really light eyes too?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
He
like
was the gray one, right?
Yeah, he was like a pretty grayish color, kind of like with like I swear he also had like a bit of gradient like close to his feet and his face too, where like went to a darker gray, and then his eyes were like really bright. I don't remember if they were blue or if they were like a light gray too. He was very monotone in that sense, but he was like a spirit horse. That's what he looked like. Like he was a ghost horse. And he was really nice, and then he was really mean. And I don't know, maybe that was his spirit temperamental.
And in my time that I was there, I rode 4 different horses. I remember the first time I did it, they put me on this horse named Zoe, and I hated her. Absolutely did not like her. She needed a lot stronger of a hand than I was willing to give. So then they swapped me and this other girl between horses, and I was then riding a horse named Angel. And she was actually like a lot better than Joey.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. And then next camp, I think it was the following year, they put me on a horse named Brandy, and she was really sweet. But there was this other girl who was more advanced than everyone else, and they were like, "Oh, well, we need to teach her how to canter, and she rides
Veronica.
Brandy." And she rides Brandy in her lessons, so we need you to swap. And she had Zoe, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I remember them saying, "We're gonna go try and get Zoe from the field, but if we can't get Zoe, you're gonna ride Gulliver." And I was like, "Oh boy!" I'm like, "At least Gulliver, like I know what I'm getting with Zoe." And they would say that Gulliver was like this grumpy old man horse, but he liked me, so it was fine.
Wasn't he the one that you dressed up?
Yeah, he was the one that I dressed up with bandanas and carburet. Yeah.
Yeah. That poor horse. I mean,
They
he
were,
let
they
you
did a
do it to him.
competition. They did a competition at the end of each camp, a grooming contest, and they would, like, and then you could dress the horse up. And the first year that I did it, I won the best groomed horse, the cleanest horse.
That's nice. And you cleaned the horse.
And then the second year, I won the best costume because I made Gulliver like I don't know, some trucker. He had like some car magazine, and we glued.
Yeah.
I say we. My mom glued collars to these barrettes to put in his hair and his mane, and then we put bandanas around him, all this kind of stuff. And I still feel like I was robbed there because they said that Gulliver was also like the second cleanest horse, but the girl who won the cleanest horse was supposed to go do a show that weekend, so her mom was out there like show cleaning the horse, like shaving him, like everything. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a clean horse." I'm like, "I wonder why."
I mean,
But yeah.
well, to be fair, why didn't you shave Gulliver?
Because I'm not showing.
And
I'm not
if you're gonna stick barrettes with cars glued on them into his hair, the least
There's
you
certain
can
things.
do.
No. There's certain things that you don't do as a camper. Just like they don't teach you how to clean like a horse sheath while you're just
Well,
there for a fun time. Nobody shows you how
that
to
would
do
be a
that.
fun night.
Not for a child. I still
Not one
remember that
summer.
story. I still remember that story. Fast forward, and I was now helping teach camps at this other ranch. And there was this little boy who was pointing at this horse and was like, "What's that?" Talking to, the horse's area. I don't know. His sheath. But this other camp counselor guy was like, "That's his extra skin." And then the kid was like, "Oh, cool. Mommy, Daddy, come see the horse's extra skin." And it was fun times.
I mean, where else are you gonna learn? When will you
I
learn
think
that your
we're-
actions have consequences?
What else? I was obsessed with Jonas Brothers for a good portion of my life.
Yeah, but that went very much into your teens.
Well, yes. But, I mean,
So much so.
I was like a tween when they first came out.
It's one.
So, a twin.
Well,
I had
okay,
a
there's the
ball
other thing.
covered.
So I was specifically thinking of between us.
Mhm.
If you want to disclose
Oh,
the vain thing, that's up to you. But I was also thinking of the other random roleplay games that we did.
like the Sonic one?
That too. I forgot about that. I try and
What's the
block
other,
that out.
what's the other roleplay games?
No,
I'm scared.
like every time we would do Sky Prince, do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Which made
I don't
no sense, by the
understand.
way. What was the plot line and why was it always when we were in a car? Like,
I think it was literally just to buy time in the car. He was a prince, and I was like, I don't know,
a
telling him
butler?
things. I don't know. I don't know what I was.
That's the thing. It would always be the same thing every time, though. You would just be explaining because I would be confused as to who I am and why I was there, and you'd be like, "You're at the Sky Prince," and then you'd have to explain we were like in the sky in a chariot or something, and then we'd get to our destination and we'd start all over again once we got back in the car.
I swear it was just to buy time. And then we made Sky our dog, too.
Yes. The Sky Prince eventually transferred to a dog because then it was like we made our dog into like this show super dog. I don't know. Did he actually have magical powers or was he just supposed to look
I think he was
pretty?
just famous. I think he was just famous.
To us. He was famous to us. He wasn't actually famous. We gave our dog
It
an
was
alter
his-
ego.
It was his Hannah Montana era,
We
okay?
gave him an alter ego, and then we acted like he was famous in our backyard. And we would shout the alter ego as he was confusedly looking at us, thinking, what's wrong with these children?
That's not my name. You weirdos. Each time he was in the back, though, he was excited, so.
It's just because he liked the pool and jumping on us. That was
You
fun.
like people, or having people push him on people. But
One time.
yeah, you know, one time's enough to remember.
I would say that's when it started, but I feel like it had started before then.
I'm trying to think.
Our dog going crazy, that is.
Yeah.
I mean, he may have been crazy, but he lived a long life.
He was crazy, but he loved us. Even in the
Sometimes.
midst of his crazy.
He loved us sometimes. Depending on the day. If he was in the mood, which, you know, I get it. If I'm in the mood... Never mind. I'm not gonna finish that sentence, actually. But... It was this computer, too. Well, obviously we don't have the computer anymore. Well, actually, no, we might. But this house, that computer, at the time, in that den, wasn't that where you found the first ever K-pop song? The Lollipop one?
Yeah, Lollipop. And I found it through a shipping video. A Pokemon
No.
shipping video. It was just tons of random Pokemon anime ships. And it was like, la la la. And I was like, ooh, I like this. And then I found that and I showed it to you.
Oh, God.
I also
all
would
the
make-
shipping.
Do you remember the Windows Movie Maker?
Yes. I love that thing.
I would make AMV videos, and I think we also had something with a dog on it circling back to Sky. It's like, hello there, my name's Sky.
Yeah.
Somebody did like a voiceover, and we thought we were so freaking cool.
I mean, to be fair, the equivalent of like what I made, at least in Movie Maker back then, was random hypercut garbage of stupid footage. Because I also remember that was back when I desperately wanted to record like our computer screen, but I didn't know how. And I remember looking up like illegal copies of Hypercam. And it had like a watermark with it, and I was scared I was installing viruses, which I probably was, let's be real, onto our computer. And
I swear
it was bad.
I installed a virus on our computer when I was trying to look up details about the next Jonas Brothers episode.
I
On the
mean, we all have that moment. Specifically the
No.
Jonas Brothers.
It's always the Jonas Brothers, man. It was the Jonas Brothers for me. Like, One Direction was after my time, and
Do you miss? Okay, this is only gonna be effective if you did use it. But do you remember back on Windows 7 when there was like the Windows Media Player, but like the big mode where it'd be full screen and you could have a bunch of different visualizers to listen to music to?
I don't think I used that.
That was the best part. I miss Windows 7, honestly. I loved that aesthetic. The Frutiger arrow, which I know you don't know what that means, but
No, I don't.
like
Oh my gosh.
how it's glassy and stuff.
Do you remember the paperclip?
I mean, that was back before Windows 7.
I know, but you were talking about that. That reminds me of the paperclip.
That was back on the computer that we had in Loftman and stuff.
Yeah.
Because wasn't that like Windows 98? Is that
was
where
old.
Clippy was on? I don't remember.
I liked Clippy.
And to be fair, did we have Windows 98 or was it Windows Vista? I don't think we ever had Vista. I swear it was 98. But
I would also like to circle back
to what?
to two things. You talked about me catfishing on VFK. I
Yeah.
also want to say that I, quote unquote, catfished. It didn't really make sense. It was catfishing, but it wasn't. Back when I still using
Morals.
Portillo's Minecraft, shut up. Portillo's Minecraft account. I had joined some server and had like gotten to know people, and instead of being like, yo, I'm using my cousin's Minecraft account, I literally would like act as two separate people. This was probably like a year or two after the whole catfishing incident on. And when I say catfishing, it was literally I was like 12 and liked this person who was supposedly a boy.
Was this Chase?
Yes, Chase.
Oh no.
No, not Chase. This is I'm back on VFK. I'm sorry.
Oh God.
On VFK, I liked this boy, and then he introduced me to his sister, Caitlin, and I introduced his sister to my friend Ace, who was me. I had a girl and a boy character, and Caitlin liked my boy character, and Caitlin was also the other guy. They weren't related. Just like I didn't really have a friend. So, fast forward.
You're explaining this very well.
Fast forward to Minecraft, instead of just telling people, hey, like, I got my own account, this was my cousin's account, I then proceeded to make this elaborate story where, like, we were cousins, but I was role-playing as my cousin. And yeah.
Wait, you told them you were role-playing as your cousin?
I didn't tell them. I was role-playing as my cousin. I would literally there'd be sometimes where I would be on as both accounts and would have conversations between my accounts.
Yeah, that's too far.
Yeah.
I don't think I could care that much to do that, even as a young person, because I couldn't manage that. Are you kidding me?
So.
Okay, then what was the other thing to circle back to?
That was it. I just wanted to give context. It might not have been clear, but I just wanted to give context.
I mean, do you want to talk about it?
Professor?
I wasn't going to say his name. I didn't want to
His
summon
name?
him. You can
So
explain that.
Oh, because I do such a good job at explaining things. So,
It's not
when
that
we were
hard.
younger, back when I had my camera, the little silver camera that we took pictures of, like, the cars and the horses and stuff and just stupid things. One day we decided, I don't know whose idea it was. It was both of us. Don't blame me.
Much like Sarah following after all the things we did, I followed after what you did because you were my older sister. So I was just going along with it.
I literally filmed my foot.
She was practicing for OnlyFans.
I spoke in a British accent. And he was a newscaster. And yeah, you were the weather boy. There was a cameraman named Gum. And I don't know, we had this whole universe where we would then proceed to make tiny little videos of Footster in different scenarios. Sarah, ironically, obsessed, loved Footster.
Yeah.
So sometimes when we would go over there, she would be like, let's do Footster, and everybody had a character. You were just yourself.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with my feet. I was always just me, but everything else in my universe was apparently a foot.
A foot
that
or
could
a sock.
speak.
So yeah.
And I vaguely remember at one time, you know, after Sarah had really wanted to do Footster stuff, it had to be because we showed her or something. And that was when Portillo was over there too. I think it was probably over at our grandma's house again. But because we would go to that room with the marble game. It wasn't even a game, the marble track, I guess. And I remember, wasn't Portillo's Samuel sock? Because he wore a sock.
Yes.
I don't remember what Sarah's was.
I don't either.
But it was a child foot. To be fair, they were all children feet. And Gum, the cameraman, was Yoshi's index finger that she pressed against the lens. And he had a country accent.
Yep.
And the sad part is, to this day, we still quote certain things. I can think of one right now that's not gonna make any sense.
Go on.
In the lovely colors of Pepto-Bismol, urine, and mucus.
Yeah.
And that was talking about comfy little mattresses.
Yeah, comfy little mattresses.
I'm pretty sure we made that when we first moved into this house, because that's when your mattress didn't have a cover to it.
Yep. But Stir originated in Lothman on your car bed, so.
Yeah, but I don't even remember the videos there. Oh wait, no, wasn't that the... No, because I swear that was still at this house. The tie-dye one.
No, the tie-dye one was the original one.
Yeah, but I don't think that was at Lothman.
I sure it was.
Speaking of
He
things
also
to be
had
injured.
a car bed.
Well, yes. Like I said, I was very obsessed with cars. And so I had like this... It wasn't even necessarily a car bed. It was the fact that it was just a mattress on the floor, but it was encased in a plastic car. And that's what my bed was. With a car blanket too. But I remember one time, it had to have been in this house, where this was back when I had the car bed here, technically, because it's where my desk is now, and my dresser was on the opposite side. And I think this was after either you had given it to me or I had taken it. I don't remember why, but I had like your pink stereo.
Oh, yes.
And it was on top of my dresser, but it was like barely hanging on. I don't remember what I was listening to, probably Pure Energy. Which was
Probably.
And the door was open, so my mom could see into the room, but I was like trying to get to the top of the dresser and onto the stereo to like stop it or something, and it was barely hanging off of the edge, and it fell on my head. And if you know how heavy the classic stereos were, they were very heavy. And it fell directly on my head from an elevated place. And I remember like crying so badly because it had to have been at least like 10 pounds that fell on my head.
Yeah.
While it was playing something that
That
eventually
stuff was,
stopped.
Like, really heavy.
But yeah, the things that you do when you are but a child. And there's all of the times that we would specifically... Actually, now that I think about it, weren't you the one that broke my camera?
I think so.
My red camera that I got forever ago, which was awesome. That was basically me saying I wanted a camera like my sister had to my parents. They got me one. Then my sister took it to film our dog, and she broke it because he jumped into the camera and then it wouldn't close and it wouldn't turn on either.
Yeah, we used to make our dog do like jumps.
You say make. He would do it. If he knew he
Well,
was getting a treat, he would do it.
He can do anything for a treat.
But even then, still, so upset. And that's why I don't take your photo. Not because you don't plan the correct days with me. But anyways, those are the main things I specifically remembered. But also,
we jumped off the bed.
Which
The
part?
bunk
Which
bed
one?
and the car bed.
I did not jump off the bunk bed.
I would jump off. Yes, you did.
No.
You climb up the ladder and jump off. We put pillows down. You don't remember that?
No. I mean...
You remember those?
Well, I barely remember your bunk bed.
Do you remember the purple cushions that I had on my bed
the
for a
ones
while?
that looked like logs?
Yes, I'd put them
Yes.
next to each other and pretend I was riding a horse. Obsessed.
Once again, humping something. This time on your bed.
No, it wasn't on my bed. It was on the floor.
Okay, humping something on the floor. Not better. Horse girl behavior.
Oh, horse girl.
Speaking of horse girl, did you know, not you, you know, that I once, while I was laying in bed with her, we were laying in the same bed, but we were facing opposite sides. So, like, I was by her feet and she was by my feet. But because of that, my arm was close to, like, my hand was close to her face. And I shoved my finger so far up her nose, she started bleeding. Because I just wanted to see how far I could go.
This is the sibling experience, man.
That's, if anything, I feel like that is the most normal sibling behavior that happened between us. Because otherwise, I feel like we weren't a very violent bunch. We were not
really
like Sarah and
roughhouse.
Portillo.
No, we did not roughhouse a lot. If we were gonna fight, it was a lot more words.
It was a lot more emotional baggage put into it.
It was not physical.
Meanwhile, Sarah and Portillo would like beat each other up. Oh my gosh, that's still so funny to me. Like they would physically start fighting each other next to us, and we would just be looking over.
Like, is this normal?
That's just how. That's how they show you they love you. You know.
I guess.
God. I mean, she bit me.
The camel incident.
The camel incident. But at the same time, I always wondered, was it really about the camel, or did she just want to bite me? Because she does like just putting things in her mouth. In every single way possible. You can take that in any context you want. She likes chewing on things. You can also take that any way you want. Specifically things that give her what she would call a good chew or a good crunch. So, whatever you can think of. She's just like that, you know?
You know?
I mean, there was also... there was the time frame when we lived here, specifically. And we would role play as a group, not just you and me. And then, inevitably, we would get upset at each other. Not just you and me, again. Like, there would be a rift between the neighborhood children.
Yep.
That would turn into... There are two sides to the story, and there's messengers that ride the scooters in between. It was... I feel
like Ronan was always involved.
It was like a tale of two cities, honestly.
I feel like Ronan was always involved. He was always
That's
one
just
of the
because
guys.
his house was always on the other side and our house was the other side. Like,
no, I mean, like, he was always one of the people that was mad at someone.
That's also because he had no emotional control. It would always end up in our house, and then the house across the street, which was Ronan's house, would be the like home bases of the people that were upset at each other. And if I recall correctly, the way that it would go, this is really dramatic and stupid, but there would be the main person that was upset at the other person, and then their consort who would stay with them, and then you'd have like one or two messengers that would go back and forth between the houses to relay what they were talking about to each other. It was like a weird war situation that we would have, and I don't even know if we ever necessarily like made up from that, or if that was more like us, I don't know, making a deal with the other people.
Do you remember when you got pushed off the retaining wall?
Oh, you mean off of a cliff?
Yeah.
Yes. That was awful. That hurt. That really did hurt. And you know what? I just laid there. I just laid there thinking, I want to die. But I didn't. And that was I don't even think Mom knew about that one either. There's a lot of things that Mom didn't know about that we did outside. But you know what? I guess that's like the olden days. Because I was shoved off a cliff, came inside, cried, and went back to business.
Let it out.
What was the worst injury you can remember getting as a child? Because I remember a lot of stupid stuff that happened to me. And I also remember a lot of injuries I got when I wasn't a child that were really bad too.
See, I like the really, really bad ones. I wasn't really a child. I remember at Lothman when I would play outside with Brandy on the scooters and we'd role play, you know, horses.
As you do.
I remember one time falling and like landing flat on my back, and I had like the wind knocked out of me. Like, I couldn't breathe.
That's what happened when I fell off the cliff.
And that was scary. But when I got up, I was fine. So, but it was scary in the moment.
I think.
But then everything else, I just think of being around the horses and being kicked
never
or dragged or
officially broke a bone, right?
No, I have. I broke part of my spine.
When?
And now my ankle. But when I got kicked, not as like a kid. I was probably like late teens.
Like broke or like fracture?
Fracture. Fracture is a break of a bone.
Well, no, because like when I imagine like I broke my arm, I imagine the bone is snapped fully.
I had part of my spine. There's like these little things that come off your spine. They're called transverse processes, and one of mine snapped off when I got kicked.
And they never got it out of you?
They don't do that. It just kind of free floats there. So.
I don't think I ever officially broke anything. Not diagnosed. Although I do think I have broken things in the past. Without knowing, and then they just healed weird. Like there's the this is so stupid too, the way it happened. I one time thought I broke my toe because it is so weird and stupid how it happened, and I don't even know how this is how I could have broken my toe, but it hurt so bad after it I couldn't move it. I was sleeping on the couch and for some reason, I think I was on my stomach, and I was gonna get off the couch and I was gonna roll to like move my leg off of it, but I rolled a little too far and I rolled off of the couch and I fell, like I rolled a 360 to where I then fell like on my stomach on the floor from the couch height. This was back when we had those brown couches, like the awful velvet ones. And I like fell, it's like I was doing a plank. That's how I fell. And it hurt, but I also remember specifically I hit like the top of my right toe or something, my right big toe. And after that, I couldn't bend my toe for like a week. It hurt to move it like that. And back then I just thought, oh, I must have like bruised it really badly. But I swear I probably like fractured it or something. Yeah. Because I couldn't move it without it hurting. And that's always what people tell you. If it hurts to move like that, then it's probably broken somehow. But I don't remember ever breaking like a big, like an arm or a leg or anything.
No arm, no wrist, nothing like that.
But you've gotten bitten, you've gotten kicked.
I have a scar, yeah.
Again,
I have scars from my dog.
Of horse
I have a scar from a horse. A horse picked me up off the ground, busted my bra. Horrible.
The dream.
Horrible times. That wasn't that wasn't a broken bone or anything, but I have a scar from it. It was like a nasty blood blister. I remember having to walk my booty all the way back up top because this was like way down in the lower stables. And I went up to the barn owner and I'm like bawling, and she's like, well, let's look at it. So we went like the little tack room, and she's looking at it. I had like holes in my shirt from where that horse bit me. Like,
well, it's a horse.
Yeah, but their teeth aren't supposed to be sharp like that.
No, but like you've seen a horse's face.
I have.
When I think of a horse, I think of like a big old jaw in the sense of like it looks like muscle. Yeah. So I imagine they have a powerful bite, even if it's a small little mouth.
I've been bitten, I've been kicked, I've been trampled, I've been dragged.
Drag her. Slay her. As you're being dragged by a horse in the background. Yeah. I think, listen, being a horse girl comes with the dangerous territory.
Yeah, I remember, I think when I was trampled and I had like some knee brace or something on because my leg was hurting. Because my leg got trampled. Not me, my leg.
I mean, that's part of you, but...
No, it's not. I detach it. And my grandma was like, is this where you're gonna stop now? I was like, no. And she's like, but it's dangerous. I mean, I'm like, so is driving a car. So is being in a car.
How else you gonna boop the snoot? You know?
So yeah.
That's what I always loved about horses specifically.
Booping their snoot.
Because their nose is so big and malleable.
I
I'd
remember
say
making
malleable.
you come
It's
out.
more just squishy.
I remember making you come out with me to help wash Deco.
Yes. And then he started unplugging my headphones and everything.
You started unplugging the headphones, and then that alpaca was obsessed with you.
And then
It's
he
like
also,
sniffing your hair.
I'm pretty sure he also kept like nudging my face with his mouth, which was dirty. So I had like dirt all over my face.
Deco liked booping people.
Yeah, very powerful
I feel
blooper.
I feel like part of the problem is because he knew tricks. So if he thought that you were gonna give him something, he'd just start doing the tricks. Like the thing with the paw, the hoof, where he'd just stick his leg out, was begging, and then he'd kiss. He'd kiss on command. So I think he just started like
Yeah, because
aggressively
even off
booping
of command, he
people.
kept kissing. And you know what? I wasn't in the mood for it.
It was so
Especially
dirty
because his form of kissing was essentially pushing you forward because he was a horse.
his lip would come out and be like, little
So
punch
he
in the
would
face.
punch you in the face with his mouth. And that's not just a sexy way of talking about kissing in fanfic. And you would just fall backwards. And then he would say, "Give me oatmeal cream pie, bitch." So
Get me a treat. I did the trick already.
But it was pretty nice out there during, you know, when we actually had winter. When we,
Yeah.
not even necessarily winter, it was also during the fall time, but when it was like close to nighttime, it was semi-cold out there.
Yeah. It was nice. I liked when they did bonfires out there. It was a fun time.
Burn the witch.
That's where I had my first alcoholic thing. I was like 14 or 15 probably, and I had a
Yeah.
jello shot. Woohoo!
And this is why
Doesn't really
it comes with the territory. Horse girl.
jello shot.
Getting
Horse
drunk at a young age.
I didn't
Horse
get
girl.
drunk. I had a jello shot. I had one jello shot.
And that's enough for you. Right?
I've never been drunk. It's okay.
It's not fun. Well, it depends. It depends on what you do.
You know, when you told me your
Don't
stories,
tell that story. I will tell that on this podcast one day, but not today. Because guess what? We get to wrap it up now. Ta-da! It wasn't that hard.
we just rambled on for an hour and a half.
That's what me and Sarah do all the time.
Ramble, ramble, ramble.
Okay. I don't. Well, no, what am I saying? I know when Sarah's supposed to be back, but Sarah should
Sarah
be
will
back
be back.
by next week's
week.
podcast. I'm pretty sure it's one of like 3 games that I might be doing on Wednesday because I have a decent amount of games that I haven't played before that I
What
have.
games? What games? Tell me. Tell me. I want to pick for you.
You're not gonna know any of them.
I'll go based just off the name.
I'll tell you after.
Okay.
It's gotta be a surprise. And plus, I hope it's a game that I don't have as much of a violent reaction to as Silent Hill because of those awful controls. But anyways, thank y'all for listening because I bet you that's the main thing that you did, and that's okay.
That's okay. It's love.
And I also have to fix this entirety of this podcast thing by next time that Sarah comes back because it is real messed up right now. You just can't tell.
You should do it today, so it's not last minute.
I'm not gonna remember. Anyways, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!